Famcast Media, bitch.
I'll say this. When it comes to, churches and stuff like that, we really, really need to start taxing them. Good morning, demons and demonesses. This is Kwame Wahkan here. I just got off of work and, like I said, I felt good today, so I decided, you know what, maybe I might as well try another hand at my makeup. Now, I decided to do like a different look this time. I think I'm starting to get the hang of it a little bit, although I will say, I definitely need a lot more practice. And the only way to get better is to keep repeating it over and over again until you can start to get the hang of it. Well, enough about that. This next story I wanted, now this story was sent to me last night by a man named Raekwon Jackson. Thank you so much for sending this to me, because I'm pretty sure he knew I was going to have a lot to say about this. Alright, so this story is about an elderly woman in Louisiana who is being kicked out of her apartment because their landlord is very, very lazy. But here's the thing about it. Their landlord is actually their pastor. I got a news clip for you. Let's take a look at it.
Good evening, I'm Meg Gatto.
And I'm Lee Zurich. The pastor of an Uptown church sent an eviction notice today to his elderly tenant saying he needs to make repairs to the property days after she reached out to Fox 8 begging for help about her living conditions.
It also comes a day after code enforcement showed up to the building, which is owned by the church, and found 25 violations. Here's our latest Fox 8 Defenders report.
He's trying to evict me because I called y'all out, Channel 8 News and code enforcement now.
Lorraine Moffitt has 10 days to get out of her Austerlitz Street home, according to this eviction notice handed to her by a deputy constable Wednesday morning.
She said, well, you got eviction notice. I said, mister, I didn't pay my rent. She said, I don't care. He wants you out in 10 days.
The eviction notice, saying the landlord needs the property for repairs, comes just days after we interviewed Moffitt about the living conditions inside her home.
This is what I do. Walk the floor with this. He used a cell phone.
Moffitt says she can't see at night.
The light don't work. It don't work. None of them work.
In her bedroom,
all that's mildew.
So the orange here on the wall, that's where the water was coming down?
Yeah, all that.
She says a plumbing issue upstairs in the fourplex compounded the problem. And when a plumber arrived in early February,
and the pipe was broke off right here.
She tells us he made this mess, but never came back to fix it.
So you've got an exposed hole in your bathroom. I can see
the ground.
There's the ground down there.
Right. It scares me. Last night I'm coming through the house with the flashlight. Something was crawling on the floor. I said, Jesus, somebody got to come out here. Somebody got to come out here.
Austerlitz Street Baptist Church next door owns the building. It doesn't have to pay a dime in taxes because of its nonprofit tax-exempt status. Despite her close proximity to her former place of worship, Moffitt now says she feels she needs divine intervention to help her out of this situation.
And it's wrong. It's just wrong for him to do this.
She's talking about Pastor Sherman Washington,
called Pastor Washington on 19th of January,
who she says she has to call whenever there's a problem with her apartment.
You're a pastor.
Yes.
You're a man of God.
Yes, I am.
Should anyone be living like that?
No. And we have told them they can go.
Right. Just like my wife said, we told them they chose to stay there, I guess, because of the rent, because of the cheap rent.
As for why one of his tenants has been without lights for nearly 2 months,
they had to turn the lights off because they were saying how the water was coming down. But I gave Miss Lorraine the opportunity, if she wanted to move, that she could move.
Moffitt says she pays $650 a month in rent, but the pastor admits he needs more and asked her last week to pay $8.50 a month, like his other tenants, to help cover repair costs.
I can't afford for her to only pay $6.50, everybody else pay, because it's costing the church and burdening down the church. Now, I don't want it to be a burden to the church, and she's no longer my member.
Do you think she should be paying $8.50 a month in rent when she's got a hole in her bathroom where you can see the floor, the ground?
We had to do that for the plumbing. We just got the plumbing fixed. And we're in the process of getting that fixed. They fixed the plumbing last week.
So for 1 week, she's been living with a hole that you could see down to the ground. You could see the dirt.
Okay, well,
so she's been living like that for a week?
Yes, she had been.
Shouldn't that have been fixed in a day?
Well, maybe it should have been fixed in a day. We didn't fix it in a day.
Why not?
I haven't got the contractor over there yet.
Would you be okay living in a house that had a hole where you could see straight down to the ground?
No, I would not.
So you would agree that's something that should be fixed ASAP?
Yeah, and it will be. Yes, it will be.
Washington admits there are plumbing issues in the fourplex, which he's spent thousands trying to fix. In fact, he says he wants to do a complete renovation of the building. But plans are on the back burner because of a fire that ravaged the church in 2022.
My church been like this for a year and a half. My intention was to get my church fixed first, and then we do the house. I can't have both of them going simultaneously.
And now, according to this eviction notice, Washington wants Moffett out. But Lorraine Moffett says putting her out onto the street just days after she begged us for help and the city's code enforcement department isn't the way to do it.
Last October, voters in Louisiana approved a change to the state constitution that allows local municipalities to pull the tax-exempt status of nonprofits if their residential housing poses a health or safety risk. The property has to have at least 3 code enforcement violations the previous year. We didn't find any code violations on the city's website for the fourplex last year, but again, inspectors who went to the property yesterday noted 25 violations. We also reached out to Pastor Washington today to ask him about the eviction notice, but never heard back.
Now, after listening to that, I think it's obvious that this pastor is full of shit. All right, first of all, like, you're saying that it took you a while and that you couldn't get contractors in there. I'm like, that's bloody ridiculous. You know, I live in a flat and, you know, it's not often that I have to, you know, speak to my landlord about anything like that. There hasn't really been any issues, you know, regarding plumbing or, you know, leaks or roofing or anything like that. But there was this one thing that happened, I think, maybe like 6 or 7 years ago. A pipe was leaking. And we noticed that it was leaking around 2 o'clock in the morning. So we woke up around 8, spoke to the landlord, and literally within an hour, 1 hour, he was able to get the plumber in and fix the leak. So this is like total bullshit that, you know, he can't get, you know, contractors or, you know, construction people to fix the problems with the house. And if you look at the conditions that the house is in, this woman has probably been living like this for a very, very long time. And you have this pastor who, let me guess, I guarantee you this pastor is probably living in like a nice house somewhere, probably on the other side of town. Guarantee the pastor's probably driving a nice car. And then on top of that, you got, you know, the reporter is interviewing him. You hear his wife in the background trying to chime in. And then he tries to say, oh, well, if she doesn't like it here, she can move. Well, my thing is this, pastor. Is this pastor going to pay for this woman's next apartment if she does try to move? And you got to understand, this is an elderly woman. Like, she doesn't have, like, I guarantee you she's probably collecting Social Security or something like that. You know, she's not as able-bodied as she was years ago. She's probably living on a fixed income. And then you want to charge up her rent, increase her fucking rent? It makes no fucking sense. This pastor is a liar, a fraud, a slumlord, and a scammer. And that's what religious people like to do. They like to take advantage of people who are, you know, down on their luck in life. People that are elderly, people that they think that they can take advantage of. And you heard what the reporter said. This was her former pastor. So I honestly understand why this woman left the church, because to be honest with you, this pastor's full of shit. He definitely is. And you know, This isn't like an isolated incident. I guarantee you there's black people all over this country that are being taken advantage by people like this. Now, the reporter also says that this pastor owns several other properties. Well, if he has several other properties and all those people are paying rent, then I know damn well he must have some money stashed somewhere that he can hire somebody to fix the problems with the house. It's absolutely unacceptable for this woman to have a hole in the middle of a bathroom floor. Does that make any sense to you? You know, you could have bugs crawling through there, you know, mice, rats, roaches. Like I said, this is Louisiana, so maybe an alligator might stick their head through that hole. I mean, that's very, very unsafe and unsanitary. And then you have code enforcement saying that they found 25 violations. This pastor definitely should be held accountable for his actions. But I guarantee you, every Sunday, he's going around the church, passing around the collection plate. And I guarantee you he's not using that money to help the people out in his community. He's probably taking the money straight out of the collection plate and stuffing it in his trousers. Running out the door with it, laughing at everybody. Let me tell you something. Whoever it is out there, these people are taking advantage of you. These people are playing you as suckers. And the best thing that we need to do is get the hell out of the church. But another thing that we need to do, we need to start taxing these churches. Too many times do we see pastors that are living high rolling while their parishioners and the people in the congregation are, you know, living paycheck to paycheck. But yet these rich ass pastors that are living in multi-million-dollar mansions, that are wearing, you know, extremely extravagant suits, that are driving Bentleys and Rolls Royces and Mercedes and stuff like that. And yet they have the nerve to ask for more money and donations. Motherfucker, you have more money to the point where you can feed everyone in your congregation. But yet you don't do that. The Joel Osteens out there, the Creflo Dollars out there, the TD Jakes out there. And then you have this guy, Pastor Washington, which is like a watered down version of TD Jakes if I ever saw him. Full of excuses, full of air, and he thinks that he can lie to this reporter like that. Unfucking believable. Now, thankfully, the community is, you know, fighting back, and they're saying, hey, you know what? We want to amend, you know, the Constitution in our state so that we can pull tax-exempt status from any organization that does this to people. This has probably happened multiple times, whether it be in the state or they probably heard about it in another state. You know, pastors are taking advantage of people all across this country. And, you know, it's well overdue for them to stop. It's well overdue that we need to start taxing these churches and these religious organizations. You know, if you read the Bible, which I'm pretty sure this pastor hasn't, and honestly, I believe like a lot of these pastors are like fake and false prophets and whatnot. It's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to inherit the kingdom of God. But, you know, they want to ignore that part of the Bible, just like they ignore the part about eating shellfish. They ignore the part about, you know, mixing cotton and polyester, just like they ignore the part where Jesus says to sell everything that you own and give it to the poor. I'm going to tell you guys honestly, and I sincerely mean this. If you notice things like this, if you notice, you know, a friend or a family member going through something like this, the best thing for you to do is to tell them to leave. Get the hell out. These people will do anything to keep taking advantage of these people. Taking advantage of people who are poor, who are dealing with, you know, financial issues, who are dealing with addiction or substance abuse. These pastors will do anything they can to make the almighty dollar bill. And you know what? It's time for them to stop. Now, honestly, I don't know what's going to happen to this woman. I mean, I think it's absolutely unacceptable that she has to live in that situation. Now she only has 10 days to leave the property, and the pastor's claiming that he's only doing this to make repairs. Do you really think he's going to fix the house? Honestly, he's probably just going to sit there vacant. Or, here's another scenario. If he does decide to fix the house, he's going to tell the woman to move back in and then charge her twice as much in rent. Because he knows damn well if when she has to re-sign that lease, it's going to be a new price. Meanwhile, the pastor's going to be stuffing more money down his trousers, driving away with his Bentley or his Lexus or his fucking Rolls Royce. He's probably buying his wife nice clothes, jewelry, stuff like that, makeup, hair extensions. Who knows? But this is wrong, and the pastor knows it's wrong. But the thing is, he's so morally depraved that he just doesn't even care. To him, this is just a nobody, a sucker that he can take advantage of. And you know, it's a shame that there's people out here in the world like that. But hopefully, someone either takes this pastor to court, or, you know, someone hears the story and decides, you know, to help this woman out. I'm not sure if there's any, you know, donation page or GoFundMe that this woman has set up. But even so, this is, like I said, no way for anyone to have to live. And for this pastor, you know, to take advantage of her, shame on him. And honestly, if God is real, I doubt he is, but if he is, this pastor will be the first person in line to burn in hell. And I really hope he does. Either way, it's only a matter of time before his chickens come home to roost. Hopefully someone in Louisiana sees this story and decides to come forward about what this pastor is doing. Because if he's doing it to this one woman, guarantee he's probably doing it to many other people. But that's pretty much all I have to say about this. You guys let me know what you think. Should we pull tax-exempt status from churches? Should this pastor be put in jail for what he's doing to this woman? Because honestly, I think this is criminal. This is no way for someone to have to live, especially an elderly person. Growing up, you're always taught to respect your elders because, you know, they've lived on this planet longer. They don't have much time left. They have so much wisdom and knowledge to share. And you're going to treat an elderly person like this. Unacceptable. So angry, I honestly want to spit. But that's pretty much all I have to say about this. You guys let me know what you think. You guys stay safe, stay metal, hail Satan, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.